Hello, my friends. Happy Wednesday. It is April 9th, so we're not quite a third of the way through the month. So we've got all kinds of time left in April. We are in our final 100-day dash towards June 30th. And normally in our training, there's we have an order of operations. This after this topic, we go to this topic, and after this topic, we go to this topic. But what happens is we have our preferred customer program deadline next week.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of talking about closing the appointment, Danny's doing a pivot. Danny's pivoting, and we're going over to customer service. And so some of this is going to be review. Some of it is going to be new, depending on who you are and when you're watching it and all that good stuff. But I love some of these quotes that we've got from Mary Kay. I feel like we have to save every quote we can of hers and just keep it at bay so that we can use it and remember that she was a wise, wise woman. So long ago, someone said to me, "It is as honorable to sell as it is to buy," which I love reminding ourselves of that because we sometimes forget that. You and I have the responsibility of keeping the honor in selling, remembering that our nation's economy depends on the fact that nothing happens until somebody sells something. Our business, more than any other, is people-driven and people-dependent, and that gives us at once a great opportunity as well as a great responsibility. And so let's talk about this next little tidbit here that came from a calendar that, gosh, it's like almost 30 years old. Everyone wants to be appreciated. So if you appreciate someone, don't keep it a secret. Fine deeds and performances are easy to recognize. Other times, however, you might have to look for things to appreciate. Get into the habit of expressing your appreciation to people and observe how it affects them. In time, they will be performing over and above the call of duty because they enjoy the recognition. And basically, customer service is key to your long-term business success. And I think that's so profound because it's not about just the product. It's about the relationships that we build with people. And so this is something that I want to make sure you memorize in your brain to be able to talk about as a pride point. Mary Kay is named #1 in direct selling brand of skincare and color cosmetics in the world. Okay, for 2 years in a row. There's 2024 and 2023. And Euromonitor International names Mary Kay #1 in multiple countries. If you don't want to remind yourself of that one, that's okay. Just say it's #1 in lots of other places too. But we are #1 in direct selling brand of skincare and color, period. And that's a lot of the reasons why. It's not just the product, but how we treat people. So why is it so important to delight customers? Brand Keys is it's a website, it's also a publication that talks about all kinds of different things here. So I want you to just check this out. Moving the cursor out of the way. Loyal customers are 6 times more likely to engage with your brand, pay attention to your marketing and advertising messages, think better of you, buy and rebuy your products or services, resist competitive appeals, the attribute, the benefit, or dollar-based. They're going to stay with you regardless of cost. If it's somebody else has a great sale at some other brand counter. Recommend your product or services to others and or give your product or service the benefit of the doubt in uncertain situations. And loyal customers are priceless. Behind each of them is you carrying on Mary Kay's legacy. She once said, "Your customers will recognize your giving spirit and success will come to you." So this is kind of a nice little flow chart here. We've got relationship building. It goes into the 2 + 2 + 2 = success, product presentation, showing you care, the preferred customer program, and then loyal, happy, referring clients. So let's talk about these. The people don't know how much you know until they know how much you care. Okay. Mary Kay always said that always think about having someone with a sign around their neck that says, "Make me feel important."
Mm-hmm.
What doesn't matter, what their field is, it doesn't matter. But I love this. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. So it's important to hear what they're saying and listen to what they're saying. Serving your client, meeting her where she's at. So I love that dangling preposition. That always makes me crazy every time I see it. And we're just going to leave it there. But for example, if you would have told 29-year-old Danny, who was washing her face with Ivory soap and Seabreeze, that she needed a miracle set with microdermabrasion, with, I don't even know how much a bar of soap is anymore. I would assume fairly inexpensive. I would imagine Seabreeze is quite reasonably priced as well, even though it's destroying your face and drying you out and all that stuff. But if you would have told me that, I would have never made a purchase. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's not saying, start everybody at the bottom. If somebody tells you they're using, R&F skincare, which is great skincare, and all of a sudden, they're price comparing to the repair set, which is a prestige line, that's meeting them where they're at.
Yeah.
Asking questions, getting them to tell you what do they already use for their skincare regimen, all that thing. And then some. Under promise and over deliver. If you say, hey, I'm going to just pop that in the mail, on Thursday, maybe stick it in the mail on Wednesday. Do you know what I mean? Just, it'll get there faster. They'll be happier customers. Okay. So this is a little rule of thumb that we talk about when somebody makes a purchase. 2 days, 2 weeks, and 2 months. That's going to give you loyal client foundation. And so basically what that translates to is if I make a purchase, or let's make Phyllis be the purchaser today. Phyllis makes a purchase today. That means on Friday, I'm going to give her a call and say, oh my gosh, Phyllis, how are you loving your microdermabrasion set? And there's a chance that Phyllis didn't even take it out of the bag yet. And that's her chance to go, oh my gosh, I need to start using that. Or, oh my gosh, my face is so happy. I used it last night. Okay. Yep. It keeps her right there. Okay. Now at 2 weeks, that's supposed to be, if you've met her, let's say that it was at Terry's party that I met Phyllis and Phyllis made the purchase. And I say to Phyllis, you know what? It's my job as your skincare expert to do a follow-up appointment to make sure that your face is happy and that you're loving the products that we tried. So we need to get together in 2 weeks. So let's go with 2 weeks from today. How does that sound? Morning or afternoon. And it's just a checkup facial. It's not going to be a super long drawn out thing unless you want to invite friends. You can always do that and get, free product like Terry got, but I definitely want to see you in person. And at the very least on a meeting or a Zoom or a FaceTime. Okay. That's where that's the start of that relationship. If you can lock that in. If it's just a purchase and it's not from a party, you still want to give them a shout out and just make sure they're loving their goodies. And I don't ask them, how are you liking it? I ask how they're loving it because it's more positive. Yeah. You're assuming the love. Okay. And then at 2 months, depending on what it is, they might be starting to run out of something. For example, if they bought a repair set, they're going to be running out of lifting serum. That's the single most reordered piece of that repair set because it's the smallest amount and gets used up the fastest, obviously. Okay. If it's an eyeshadow, not as big of a deal. But if it's a mascara, making sure they're still happy with it. And if they're using it every single day, there is a chance they need to reorder at that point. Okay. Now, these are some things that you can show how you care. And fortune is in the follow-up. And I think one of the greatest things that you can do is put love notes in your orders for people. Okay. You can do postcards. You can jump on Sparkle City LV and get they've got discounted clearance postcard, type cute things that you can it's really colorful on the one side, and the other side you can write a thank you note. Or you can have blank cards, whatever it is you're wanting to do. I think it's just so important when you can, because some people's schedules don't allow for extra stuff. When I was teaching, I didn't have time to write thank you notes. I would just thank them in my texts. Okay. But if you can have it set up so that they ultimately are looking at their bag and it's like a present that they're opening up. That's really cool. So one of the things that I heard over and over again is you want to have some form of a sample or a gift in there if you can. A sample is great. A mini, or a lot of times I'll just throw a full-size hand cream in there or a full-size hand sanitizer, because the write-off on that for me, the hand cream is $12 retail, so it costs me $6. The sanitizers $8, costs me $4, right? And that can be, it's a full-size thank you on top of what they've got. And if you want to find something on InTouch that's literature about the company, to go in there, because a lot of times we assume they're not interested because they told us no one time, and it's okay if they throw it away. It's also okay if they look at it and go, I need to make some extra money right now because all of a sudden stuff got more expensive. And this looks like something I could do, okay? That maybe I wasn't interested in 6 months ago or 18 months ago. You also could, this is something that Linda used to do. She'd say, try it, fall in love with it, call me to receive a 10% discount on it if it was a sample that she included. If they call her and say, hey, I got this great sample, what's the scoop? You could do a birthday discount or a birthday card, birthday gift, a birthday pampering pack, those kinds of things. I'm a big fan of whenever you can use full-size product for anything, it's a write-off. It goes towards your star. But samples are also great too. I do birthday discounts. Some people do birthday discounts like it's their birthday party bash, and we have a bash for their birthday, and then it's just a skincare class that we've renamed their birthday bash. Okay, so they're still going to get free product as hostess credit, but it's their birthday gift instead. Okay, it's just really a cool thing to consider. Okay, but we don't want you giving away all your profits.
All right.
The end. Okay, so the preferred customer program, which is PCP, this summer lookbook that's coming out, this is the current spring one that we have the picture of right here. But the summer one, you'll get a sample inside of a new product. You also, the price on it is 95 cents per name. Then there'll be tax on that. But let me just break it down for you. A lookbook, what did we say? It's $5 for a pack of 10. That's the price it's going up to next month, right? Okay. So let's say it's $5. I think it might be less than that, but let's say 5. And there's 10 books in that bag. It's $5. Let me try that again. Oh my gosh. 50 cents per book, right? Is that right? No. Yes. Yes. 50 cents a book. Then there's the postage. Then there's the sample that goes in there. Then there's the time. So 95 cents includes the catalog and the sample and the postage. And if you enroll one person in there, you will be hooked up and ready to go. The benefits of the preferred customer program may not be something that you see right away. Okay? Because we also talk about it takes 7 to 12 touches for someone to remember anything about that they need to get back to you or that you even reached out. Okay? Most people give up after the third attempt. So that's why it's not nagging, especially if you're tracking, how often you've talked to people. Promoting personalized service that makes a lasting impression, building friendships, team members, and loyal clients. That's one of the benefits. You save 40% when you mail the lookbook through PCP. You get to order early, so the new summer products you'll get to order on May 10th versus May 15th. And the preferred customer program boosts sales by 30% on average. Okay? I think of it as usually somebody who's on that preferred customer program list makes a purchase through my website that ends up being the reason why I'm able to pay for my preferred customer program mailers. One is all it takes. So the benefits that clients enjoy, they get new product sneak peeks, sampler included, personalized service because it's got their name on it, gift with purchase because, it's you and they got the sample inside, and they're in the know on anything that's new coming up. Don't over discount. I think I mentioned that. Using hostess programs and referral programs is great. Gift with purchase. A lot of times people will just say it's for preferred clients. Some people say they have to spend a certain amount. It used to be the company used to have it set up where they would have to spend $40 in order to get a gift with purchase. I think of it as if they're spending $50, they can do that half price from Monica.
Oh,
And then if you want to throw something in there, you can. Okay. The eye buys, so does the nose. Fragrances are always a great upsell. Following up all over the place, making sure that your product is stored in climate controlled, good place. So not in your car. Now that the temperature is getting hotter, don't do it.
mm-hmm.
Never compare Mary Kay or say something negative about a competitor's products. Okay. For example, if I'm talking about, let's say RNF, they're a great skincare line. And when I talked about it earlier, I didn't dog on them. Look at the prices. That's all. Okay. I usually don't even bring up a brand name. I'll say brand X, brand Y, whatever. I remember being I'll tell you a story when we're done with this so I can look at your little faces. But running your business on the golden rule, have grace for people, but set boundaries. Some people pick days of the week that are their delivery days. And if somebody needs something in an emergency setting and you've got it, maybe if they come to you, you'll have an extra gift for them. So you don't have to worry about, you'll put it out on the porch and then, they can swing by and grab it. Okay. Because yes, we are the foundation emergency people or the lifting serum emergency people, but we also need to sleep and eat and stuff. Okay? Be fun, be confident, and know that you've got something of value to share. And so my story. And this was a good one. So I went to a party that was an essential oils party. And I think I've told this story to Phyllis for sure, I think before, but I went because my friend was throwing the party and I told her ahead of time, I said, hey, just so you know, I can't sign up to sell any of this. I said, because I'm a sales director. And that's one thing you can keep in mind. If you become a sales director in Mary Kay, and it's also probably the case in most of the other direct sales companies too, you can't be a director and do other direct sales because they're assuming you're doing this as your full-time job.
Right.
Okay. However, let's pretend I'm a consultant and I want to be selling, candle wax, and I want to be selling health shakes, and I want to be selling, oils. I can do all those things because I'm a consultant. It's a part-time gig. Right. Okay. So I told her, I said, I can't sell anything. I could buy it, but I can't sell it. So I was sitting there and the gal running the event talked about how her daughter was in Mary Kay years ago. And she was told she had to order every single month. And there was a minimum amount that she had to order every single month. And I kind of just sat there. And by the way, I had jeans on and I had my little Mary Kay denim jacket on, Mary Kay little t-shirt on. And so I had Mary Kay denim right here, right? And I'm just kind of sitting there. I'm drinking my Diet Coke. I'm listening. It gets done, and it's time for the closing, the individual chit-chat time. And I went over to the gal and I said, okay, so I just need you to know, I'm a sales director with Mary Kay, and whatever your daughter went through there, either her director was being dishonest with her recruiter was being dishonest with her, or she misunderstood them, but they don't have to order every single month. That's not true. They only have to order once a year to stay a consultant. And she said, oh, it worked out. She's with me now with doing this. And I said, okay, but here's the problem. I said, what you're saying in your presentation is not true.
Right.
I said, so I either need you to change it or take it out.
Right.
I said, because it's not true. And and you wouldn't like it if I ran around saying untrue things about your company. And my friend was like, oh my God. Like she was mortified. Not at me, I thought for sure she was mad at me, but she wasn't. She was like, "Oh my gosh, Danny," and she's a customer, you know, and I just said, I'm like, she needs to not be saying bad things about this company because it's not true.
Right.
So it's one of those things. Like I mention to people sometimes, you know, hey, just so you know, you can only get Mary Kay from Mary Kay people.
Oh, right.
That's one of the other things I like to say, because if you type in Mary Kay, it shows up on Amazon, it shows up on Walmart, it shows up in all these places. And what I say to them is, you can't guarantee its efficacy or its condition,
right?
And we can't back up the product because you don't know where it's been. You don't know what temperature it sat at or who used it before then. You can't guarantee that it's fresh. And that's an important thing to make sure you tell people, because I've had people that have said to me, "Oh, Danny, I love supporting Mary Kay. I love supporting your business. I just got a skincare set off of Amazon."
Oh my. Oh my.
That in no way supported me, but that's okay. But I just go, "Oh my gosh, well, I really hope your face is okay," because
right? We don't know.
Because we don't know.
No?
There's a picture that floats around every year. It shows up with oil-free eye makeup remover.
Oh, yes.
What it's supposed to look like versus what it looked like when somebody bought it off of a site like that.
Right.
And it is gross.
Oh,
really?
Horrible.
It's nasty. And you're like, where in the world? And these people are paying money for this.
I know. It's nuts.
Nope.
So that's my customer service thing. Whenever you can, you know, kind of zhush it up a little bit with packaging. I was never a zhusher. I bought my Mary Kay little bags. I threw the stuff in the Mary Kay little bags. I'd drop it off. I felt like I was doing my job. It was good. And then, like, you know, you see cute things and it's like, okay, but I'm not creative. But then when you see things that you can duplicate in mass on the cheap, like those pennants, or like just extra little tissue paper or stickers, or you know, you're buying the bubble mailers, you know, spend a couple of extra pennies to make it the hot pink ones, you know, whatever you can do to kind of brand yourself, because you are your own brand. You're representing Mary Kay, but it's kind of like, what is it that you want to project out there? And I think that's really important. So out of all that customer service stuff, what can I answer for you guys? Questions, comments? What'd you learn?
Well, that incident at that party, I mean, yeah.
You know, if you're around long enough, crazy things happen.
Yes, this is true. But good for you for addressing it. I mean, that just...
It's really hard. You guys, I had the craziest thing happen today.
Oh boy.
Beautiful lady. My friend Phil is a band director at one of the Pinecrest schools, and he's sick. And just like the flu. And he had texted to see if Jeff or I or both of us could tag team his afternoon classes. And I was like, well, I could take care of the beginner kids, because it's like, you know, I eat lunch, I go do this, I come back home and do some work. And it's only an hour, so no big deal. It's really up the street. Everything's great. The sub, beautiful lady in a dress to the nines. And you know, we're chit-chatting away. She's super friendly. I'm like, I need to have her on my PCP. I need to facial her. I need to recruit her. Right? She's going to be an Offspring sales director. I already decided this, right? But she's just so nice, right? And so we're chit-chatting. I said, well, I used to be a band director, you know, and Jeff had come because he was taking the next two classes, and we're chit-chatting with her. And she was trying to figure out like what we do in real life. And I said, well, I'm a sales director with Mary Kay. And she goes, oh my gosh. Because she was talking about how, you know, she liked my eyes and we're the same age and blah, blah, blah. And I was ready to do it. I was ready to ask her, do you have a Mary Kay consultant? And she does. She said, you know, I would totally love to have you as my consultant, but I already have one. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so great. Who is it? She's like, well, I don't know if you know her. I said, I might. Who is it? Nancy Magurno.
Oh
Sales
my
director Nancy Magurno.
Gosh.
It's in every networking thing known to man. And I but in a good way. In a good way.
All right.
And I was like, I love Nancy Magurno. She's like, you know Nancy? I was like, I sure do. And I was just like, oh. seriously, like, okay, no one has ever asked me if I use Mary Kay. Like, no person has come up to me in like the store and gone, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. Are you on anyone's Mary Kay mailing list? No one's asked me that.
I think I've had one person ask me.
Do you know that Vicky Jo Oth, who just retired, in her 35 years or whatever it's been that she was in Mary Kay, no one ever asked her.
Wow.
And she is always to the nines.
Yes.
Everywhere she goes, she is decked out, looking slamming. And so what I'm getting to the point is, we have tons of people in this world.
Right.
Okay. And here is something that National Sales Director or Senior National Sales Director Emeritus taught me. You ready? Anywhere you're out and about, like don't necessarily go out like in search of it. I feel like when you go out to warm chat, that's just a disaster, right?
No.
But if you're out and about and you're like, you're cute, you got your makeup on, you don't have to have your skirt on. I find if I can have my beauty coat, then that kind of gives me my superpower. So I'm kind of like, okay, I can go out and about and look cute and do my thing. But if I'm like in jeans and a t-shirt, as long as I'm decked out, that's okay because I'm doing life, right?
Right.
Especially since it seems the company has become a little more relaxed on stuff as far as how we look, because they're trying to attract the Gen Zs and younger, right? Mm-hmm. And they don't want to be all decked out in all the things all the time. Anyway, so when you're out and about and you're chit-chatting with somebody, find something to compliment her on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it could be something like, if somebody's got a really cool handbag, or you really like their shoes, or you think their lipstick is beautiful. What color is that? And if she tells you, just say, okay, so what brand is that? Because I've just got to know. Just kind of keep the conversation going, because then what you can say is, I just have to know, who is your Mary Kay consultant? Are you on anyone's Mary Kay mailing list? And if you don't want to say who's your consultant, you can say, are you on anyone's Mary Kay mailing list? And just say, I've just got to ask. And then when they say no, then this is the important part, you guys. This is the physical gesture you have to do. Ready?
Yeah. Okay,
here it is. You're not? You put your hand right here. You're not? You don't get catalogs sent to you by a Mary Kay consultant? Are you sure? Well, I would love to add you to my mailing list. We send out 4 catalogs a year with free samples. It's got, new product updates and all kinds of good stuff in there, free of charge, of course. Is that something that would interest you? Okay, awesome. Here's my, text me your phone number and your address, and I'll get you locked in. Or just text me your phone number and we'll connect before the next catalogs go out. I need to send out a batch next week. Whatever, just get the info mm-hmm. so that you can create the connection. And then you can follow up, because then it's a warm lead, because you met her at Smith's, you met her at, the gas station, you met her at the park, wherever. And then you can say, it was so great to meet you. I'm just following up so I can get you get you into my preferred customer list so that you can get some mailings. And, I would love to be able to connect to give you a personalized skincare consultation. It could be one-on-one or with friends. Which one's better for you? Or take the script from the 21-day challenge and use that if you're scared. Okay. But do you see how you can take that moment?
Yep.
You don't. You're not. And it's so true. One of the things that Rebecca had done, and she tells this story, and it makes me laugh so hard, because it makes you remember that these people, these national sales directors, are real people. When they were in the trenches, they were real people. She was in a pace setters class, which was a big deal that they have, sometimes they call them pace setters class. Sometimes they're just whatever. It's like every Saturday. It was an every Saturday thing. And they had to have the challenge completed or they weren't allowed to come. And it was like she had to get rid of 10 business cards throughout the week. And Rebecca was very shy. Her skin was not great yet. And she was really, really nervous. And so she went into the grocery store, went down to the cereal aisle, and took boxes of cereal and put her business card in 10 boxes of cereal. And then she went to her pace-setters class because she got rid of them.
Hey, they didn't say how.
Right. So then the store manager calls Ermel, because the store manager was friends with Ermel, who was my original national. And she opened Mary Kay Hawaii, and she actually opened Mary Kay Germany. And he calls her and he said, is one of your consultants Rebecca Evans? And she's like, yes. And he told her what she had done. And so she got scolded because it's like, Rebecca, you can't do that. And Rebecca was like, you didn't say how, exactly, so it's okay. It's kind of like, pick one day that this is going to be the day that you ask somebody if they're on somebody's mailing list. And just like it's the feel the fear of the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and go. If you want to count to 5 the other way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and do it. Or you could even just, if somebody's really, really beautiful and you're just like, you're going to think I'm crazy. And I never do this. But I just have to know, you look like somebody that is like a poster child for Mary Kay. Are you on anybody's mailing list? Giving them a genuine compliment is really big. And, if you can't find something to compliment them on, don't do it. Because if you're looking at her going, ooh, unless she's really nice, and then she's got that little light inside of her that you're like, I'm going to turn that little caterpillar into a butterfly. Do that. But if they're like a grumpy dog and, inside and out, you don't want any part of that.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. You don't. So that's my little tidbit for you all on this beautiful April 9th. So my challenge for you is to get some people enrolled in your PCP. Get it done before the 17th so you can say, hey, it's done and I'm excited. Because even if you have one person enrolled, it's going to get you the ability to order early. And there will be some ordering incentives that the company has proposed, that there will be random sweepstakes type winners of micellar water. But it's like going to be so fun. If you order, you might be one of the ones that gets an extra micellar water in her box.
Oh,
yeah,
fun.
It's kind of nifty. Yeah. So if you got the email,
I didn't get the email.
Well, see, maybe it's coming to you later.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's true. So that's what's going on there. And then Phyllis, what I want you to do is check your calendar.
Okay.
For tomorrow and Friday to figure out, give me some options for coaching call times.
Oh, tomorrow and Friday are both out.
Okay. Well, we can do Saturday. Send me times.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just 13 minutes. No big whoop.
Yeah. Easy
peasy, lemon breezy.
Saturday, I'm still trying to get guests. So.
Okay. We'll keep trying. It's all good. And then what questions can I answer for you guys?
I don't have anything at the moment.
Any questions on coaching your hostesses or making those appointments or?
I do have a question because I'm doing, well, it's not until May 6th, but I'm doing Girl Scouts and their moms. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how many yet because my customer, she texted me and to confirm, and I said, okay, can you find out how many? Mm-hmm. And she gave me the address already and stuff. My question is, how would I go about, because I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to talk to them beforehand. Mm-hmm. maybe I will. Maybe I can ask for the phone numbers beforehand. And now that I'm talking out loud, I can ask for the phone numbers because I don't know how many, but my first, and it's going to be young girls, like going to be like 11, 12 years old. Cause I was just going to bring like the one skincare to try. And if they don't want to try it on the face, they can do the back of the hand. You know, I'm not going to, you know, force anything on their face if they don't want to do it on their face, obviously, but the moms may. What was my question? I totally spaced it.
About pre-profiling?
The pre-profiling part. And I can't really pre-profile the girls. I mean, but the moms I would like to. But the first thing that came up with, popped in my head, obviously, is the skincare analyzer. I mean, that just narrows it down and makes it easy. So I figure as soon as I get how many are coming and the moms, I'm going to ask my customer, Davina, if she could give me their phone numbers. And
you could also create a little script that she can forward on.
Oh, yes. Okay. All right.
Because they'll be a little less, she'll be less guarded about that. She'll do that for you, I would imagine.
Yeah, she would. Yeah.
That's something that a lot of hostesses these days seem much more willing to do.
Okay.
And what you can do, you could attach a Google form to it.
Okay.
That they can then fill it out, and then you've got all their info.
Okay.
But you can just say, I've got some, I'm so excited that we're going to get to meet. I'd love for you to be able to answer some questions ahead of time. Here's the Google form. Or you could just have instructions on how to download the Skin Analyzer app.
Yeah, maybe I'll just do that. Yeah.
And understand that if you've got anybody who's technologically challenged, you're going to be helping them do that at the appointment.
Yes.
And you also could do it like right at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Like, because here's one thought that you could do, Phyllis, is you could have everybody doing satin hands.
Okay, right.
And while they're doing that, you're doing their skin analyzer on their face.
Okay, I like that. Yeah,
and have them pull their phones out and just say, pull out your phones because we're all going to do this together. And then that way they've got the info, they've kept the info, and just leave it here.
Okay.
And then that way you're able to check it and
yes.
see.
Okay, I like that. Okay, thank you.
And you figure if they're parents of Girl Scouts, odds are repair is not going to be one you need to worry about.
No.
So you're looking at Miracle Set and the Mary Kay skincare line.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's enough to bring with you in a good way.
Yeah.
You could bring charcoal mask because everybody could do that.
I was going to do the charcoal mask. Yeah.
Charcoal mask would work. You could give the moms the option of the facial peel in lieu of the charcoal mask.
Okay.
And what I would tell them, just because you're trying to make sure that it dries in time and all that good stuff, and you're not waiting 8 hours.
Right.
I would tell them if they're going to do the charcoal mask just across the raccoon line, because if you're talking about a mass number of people.
Yeah. I don't want to take up too much time. Right.
And then, because the biggest thing, and you might have to abandon that if it's too many people.
Yeah. As soon as I find
the reason for that is basically, they can still put product on their face and all that good stuff.
Right.
The charcoal mask is a bear to get off.
Yes, that's true.
If you don't have enough face cloths.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it could be, in a pinch, facial cleansing cloths that we have in section 2 are great. But sometimes just a roll of paper towels gets the job done.
Yeah.
Just for normal party stuff. And that's what I've been bringing these days. I still have, packs of facial cloths, but because if there's a lot of people, it's automatically on the back of their hand.
Yeah.
Because if it's too many, you're never going to get out of there.
Right. And that's what I was thinking. If I have like more than 5 or 6, I was definitely going to just have everybody do just the back of their hand. Take one hand and do everything on it.
And if they do that, then basically what I do is say, okay, hold up the hand that you do not write with.
Okay.
And that way, that's going to be the hand that we put your product on. Because not everybody, not everybody's a righty, so it's like,
Right.
I might put the product on my left hand, but Ainsley would probably put the product on her left hand. You know what I mean? So it's, or I'd put the product on my left hand. But, and then what I would do, Phyllis, is I would do cleanser and microderm for the older people. For the kids, I would do cleanser, then the invigorating scrub.
Okay.
From the Mary Kay line.
Okay.
And then I would put the pore minimizer on, then the moisturizer, and let it hang out. And then for the kiddos, go ahead and put toner on.
Yeah.
Go ahead and put the moisturizer on. So you've got products on there, and just say, and at daytime we would put an SPF on, and you guys could, and that's something that we can talk about in your individual chit chat time.
Yeah.
Or in an appointment in the future that we set up that it involves more product that we can put on your face. And then what you can do, which I do think is kind of fun to do when you've got a lot of people like that, is you bring your CC creams and you bring a foundation primer.
Okay.
And you put foundation primer on the hand that you've been putting all the product on. And then what you're going to do is you take a dot of foundation. So it would be like, I would be using a dark one. This is just a beige, but that's even too much. What I just put on here.
Yeah. Yes, okay. I see it. Yeah.
But put it on and just go boom. And then you pull it away and then have them rub it in. So if I'm an ivory, they're putting very deep on their hand. And if I'm a very deep, I'm putting very light on their hand. And then the idea is they compare and contrast. And the hand that's been treated,
yes,
everything's going to be beautiful and smooth and awesome sauce.
Right.
And then they can go wash it off after.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And if that's what they're going to do, if you've got a lot of people, then my suggestion would be wait to do satin hands till the end.
Yeah.
But what you could do at the beginning is have them do satin lips.
Ah, yeah.
While you're doing Skin Analyzer app stuff.
Right.
A lot of this has just been pivoting over the years to figure out the best use of time.
Right? Yeah, and I'm only going to have like an hour and a half.
Then I would vote everything's on the hands.
Yes.
And you can use the closing sheet that we did from Diana Sumter. The one that's got all the skincare sets along the top, all the treatments along the bottom.
Okay.
And the roll-up bags. I'll make sure you've got that.
Okay, thanks.
And it's really simple.
Yeah, I just want to utilize the time, as much as possible. And, because Mother's Day is like right around the corner, so I definitely want to do either satin hands or satin lips. And like, depending on how many I'm going to have there. I mean, I may have a small group. I may have a big group. I don't know yet, but she's going to let me know. And that's why she was texting me today. So, which is great because I was going to text her. So, yeah. But she offered to do this. This conversation's been going on since last fall. I kid you not.
Pin her down, baby. Pin her down.
And this one customer, she's amazing. Actually, she retired from the school district years ago. And this lady, excuse me, she was a friend on Facebook during COVID when you did the bingo night, one of those times. She was on there and her first purchase was the Time Rise Repair.
I love that.
And then a year or so, about a year and a half later was when we finally met in person.
Oh, that's so funny.
Awesome.
I know. It's been great.
I love that.
Yeah, it's been great. But thank you for the tips and all that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I've also, like the Google form, I think I've shared that before, but I'll send that out again.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Because when you go to use that, save it as a copy.
Okay.
Because then you can change it, manipulate it, do everything you want. Okay.
Okay.
And then that way you've got it for good and you're good to go.
Okay. Great.
Cool. Excellent. Terry, I've been seeing your posts in your customer group. It makes my heart happy.
I'm trying to get back into everything.
Yes, I love it. I love everything about it. Okay, so I will definitely be connecting with the both of you and some others that have reached out as well. and let's just go out there and make some magic happen this week. Yes.
Yes.
All right, my friends. Well, have $1 million week, and I'll be talking to you soon.
Okay. Thanks so much, Danny.
All right. You're welcome.